Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. Lucky Strikes blowing smoke rings at you from the studios of Comfortably Zoned Radio. And it's time for Dodgers baseball, a tale of two cities, from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. I'm your host, Peter Trunk, and my co-host is Ron Rabinovitz. Just to
How you
start
doing, Peter?
things, I'm doing fine. How are you, Ron?
I'm doing great, thank you.
There you go. How are things out in your neck of the woods out in Minnesota?
Good. I was at Target Field today. I spoke to about 300 kids about Jackie and different things. It was wonderful. Yeah.
Spoke about Jackie Robinson again, right? That's great.
Yeah.
That is great. Oh, man. Wow, you're a busy guy, I'll tell you.
I'm busy.
Yeah, well, you know what? What's the thing about idle hands of the devil's workshop? Something like that?
That's right.
So you're busy as a beaver, so you have no problem there. Well, it's just the start of things, so for our listening audience, pull up a chair, a comfortable chair, and if you want to take your shoes off, go ahead. Wiggle your toes, and we hope you have a cold shaver or two throughout the broadcast. Now, Ron, tonight we're going to talk about one of the all-time great Dodgers, Carl Furillo. And
yes, sir.
I want you to start the conversation. And of course, as many Dodger fans know, Carl Furillo was probably the greatest right fielder in Dodgers history. Because Zach Wheat, as I understand it, played mostly in left field. So
yes, he did.
Zach Wheat was a great ball player, but I think Carl ranks up there. If he's not number one, he's right up there. Let's talk about Carl Furillo. Go ahead, Ron.
Okay, let's do it. Carl was an interesting guy. I did a little history on him, and he had a tremendous arm. He was known as the Reading Rifle. Reading was because he grew up in a suburb of Reading, Pennsylvania, and he was just unbelievable. He could throw a guy out at first base if he rounded the base too far. He could, from right field, a guy hit a single, he'd throw him out at first base. He'd throw behind him, and he'd get him out. He did that many, many times.
He threw one guy out, Mel Queen, who was a pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Right.
Queen hit what appeared to be a line drive single to right field, and Furillo threw him out at first base.
He threw him out at first base.
And he also is known for throwing out 7 guys who wandered a little bit too far on their base hit. They rounded the bag a little too far, and he threw behind them and caught 7 of them.
Right.
So he did have a rifle attached to his right shoulder.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of like Puig does today,
Yeah.
Because people are worried about, they don't want to, take an extra base on him because he's got quite an arm too.
Yeah, he does.
Furillo was a tremendous player. I found it very interesting that he and Leo DeRocher didn't get along at all.
Mm-hmm.
And when DeRocher was with the Dodgers, he thought that Furillo was kind of a slack off, that he wasn't working hard enough and whatever. And Carl had a temper. He could get pretty charged up.
Mm-hmm.
And he was tremendous in the outfield. If you recall the Ebbets Field wall, that right field wall, it was 19 feet high with a 19-foot screen, and it was crazy because it was concrete and concave, and depending where the ball would hit, Furillo once said, he says, if it hits above the cement and hits the screen, then you run like hell toward the wall because it's going to drop dead. Or he said that if it hits the cement, then you're going to have to run like hell in the infield because it's going to come shooting out.
Yep.
And he said, I can't even tell you if it's going to hit the scoreboard. The angles were crazy. So Carl, as I say, grew up and died in his hometown of Stony Creek Mills, Pennsylvania, a suburb of Reading. And he got involved in baseball. He was in the minor leagues for a while. He moved up to Montreal in the International League in 1942 and batted .281. He was the youngest player on the team, and he was the most prominent major leaguer on Clyde Sukfur's managed squad. The Army called him, and he missed the next 3 seasons. He served in combat, and then he reported back in January of 1946. I'm sorry. He
Let's not go too fast.
Florida.
Let's not go too fast about his military duty. As I understand it, Carl Furillo was awarded the Purple Heart, and he turned it down. He turned it down because he said he didn't do enough to earn it. That's the kind of guy Carl Furillo was. He actually turned down the Purple Heart.
Yeah,
he said
he
others
was really
did
something.
Much more than I did. He said.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
Isn't that something? Amazing.
That is
really
really
he was
something.
really something. He was a great human being. And you know, he had some wounds at the war, and as you say, he was offered the Purple Heart, and he turned it down. Unbelievable. So he reported to in 46, in January of 46, he reported to Sanford, Florida, for advanced training designed to returning servicemen.
Yeah.
And according to Carl, he was offered a contract of $3,750 to play for the Dodgers. And when he balked, manager Leo DeRocha told him, "Take it or leave it." So they didn't get along at all. And he basically was benched most of the year. DeRocha didn't think that he knew much about baseball, and he didn't know how to handle. And Furillo felt that he didn't know how to handle young players, DeRocha. And despite the animosity, Furillo displaced Brooklyn's premier center fielder, Pete Reiser. So a lot of people know Furillo as a right fielder, but he actually started out as a center fielder.
Yes, he did.
Until Duke Snider came along. And he was quite a guy. He was just a tremendous ball player. He had great statistics. His average for his whole season, for all of his years, was .299, which is nothing to sneeze at. His best year was probably 1953 when he batted .344. Tremendous guy. And his fielding was outstanding. He had an fielding average of .979 for all his games, which was tremendous. Just tremendous. Yeah, he was really something.
He used to lead the league in assists, too, from the outfield.
Yes,
One year he had 24 assists.
Yeah, that's right. 24 assists. Imagine that. Yeah. And when in 1947, the Dodgers, of course, trained in Cuba because of Jackie, and that's about the time when DeRocha was suspended. And it seemed like once DeRocha was out of there, Furillo really kind of budded. He became much better. He became a great ball player.
Yeah, one of the
very
things
interesting.
One of the things that DeRocha did that Furillo always gave DeRocha what he deserved. In other words, Carl Furillo never really got along with DeRocha, but he said, and he's quoted many times as saying that DeRocha knew his onions. He knew baseball, he knew the game, and he knew how to manage it. He was a really, really good manager. However, the way I read all the stories and all the stories from other ball players besides Carl Furillo and his son Carl Furillo Jr. was that in the springtime of 46, when the Dodgers signed him for $3,750, he had gone to a bar with a few of the other Dodger players, and they were all drinking beer. Now, Carl Furillo was never a drinker, and he claims that he had maybe a half a beer, and all the other
Right.
Dodgers were drinking.
Yeah.
And when the waitress would come over with all the brand new bottles of beer and stuff, she was leaving the empties in front on the table. And
Yeah.
it just so happened when DeRocher passed through the bar, the other guys were buying cigarettes or taking a leak in the men's room or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's Furillo sipping at his beer, and there's like 11 or 12 bottles, empty bottles in front of him. So DeRocher right away jumps to a conclusion. This guy's out of control. He's a drinker.
Yeah.
He's no good. And that was the first misstep. That was the first misstep between Carl Furillo and Leo DeRocher. But go ahead. Go ahead, what you were saying.
And then it was so true.
In 47.
In 47, he remained kind of the forgotten man. He was on the bench, and he was more or less in DeRocher's doghouse. And afterwards, after DeRocher left, then he started to blossom. In 47, still by June 23rd, he was fifth in the National League with a .323 batting average, although he's only had played had only 124 at bats. Later on in the season, he picked up, and the Dodgers won the pennant, of course, in 47, and Furillo had 93 of his 121 games were played at center field, batting .295 with 88 runs batted in, which is nothing to sneeze at. Right. And in the World Series, of course, the Diamond Yankees beat us again, but Carl batted .353 in that series. So in 48, he was injured in midseason and played only 108 games. He finished with a .297 batting average, and despite playing only 2/3 of the season, he had 13 assists. He was quite a guy. He was quite a guy.
Consistent too. .295 and
Absolutely.
.297.
Yeah. Now in 1949, Duke Snider took over at center field, and Furillo played 140 of his 142 games in right field, and equaled his 1948 total of 13 assists. He had the best year at the plate to that point, batting .322. He was fourth in the National League with 18 home runs and 106 RBIs.
Wow.
He was really something. Yeah, amazing. And then in a game in September against the Cardinals, Furillo had one of the finest offensive performances of his career. The Dodgers won 19-6, and Carl went 5 for 6 with 3 consecutive doubles and drove in 7 runs. Just amazing. He was quite a guy. And as his career continued, he got even better. Then there was an incident in 1950. The Dodgers finished second, 2 games behind the Whiz Kids, the Phillies. And Furillo racked up 189 hits, good for third in the National League. And he matched his 1949 totals of 18 home runs and 106 RBIs. Defensively, he recorded 18 assists.
Now that's real consistency. That is consistency. 18 home runs and 106 RBIs 2 years in a row, exactly the same amount.
2 years in a row, exactly.
That's amazing. And the Dodgers lost that pennant in 1950 on the final day of the season.
Yeah.
In the bottom of the ninth inning, Snider singled, but Abrams was thrown out at the plate by Richie Ashburn. And then Newcomb gave up the home run to Sisler in the 10th inning, and the Dodgers were toast. But they had a chance to win that 1950 pennant.
And this is interesting, Peter. On June 28th of that season, Furillo was beamed just above the ear in a game against the Giants at Ebbets Field. Mm-hmm. He had belted a 2-run homer in the 4th, and in the 8th he could not evade a high inside pitch from the Giants pitcher Sheldon Jones. He was carried off on a stretcher, and there were players for both the Giants and the Dodgers at his side. According to Furillo's version, manager DeRocher told him before the game, we're going to skip rope you skipped rope with a left-hander last night. tonight we're going to get you, Dago. And the next day, Furillo said Jones visited him in the hospital to apologize and indicated that he was under orders from DeRocher to throw at him. So there was that feud continued on for years. You know, it was not good. So it's pretty amazing. He was his worst season was 1952. He had threatened to hold out, and actually he signed a blank contract and received $20,000, approximately $20,000 that year. In 53, he underwent eye surgery to remove cataracts.
Yeah.
And he responded with the highest batting average of his career, a batting title, a second trip to the All-Star game, and a ninth place finish in the most valuable MVP voting. The Dodgers won the pennant by 13 games, but lost again to those damn Yankees.
Yeah. That was perhaps the most intimidating and powerful Dodger team of all time, the 1953 edition. They won. They almost scored 1,000 runs. They scored over 900 runs. They won 105 games. Yeah, they really were. And that was the year. That was the year that after Furillo got hit once at the Polo Grounds, when he went to first base and he looked into the Giant dugout, DeRocher was like pointing at him and laughing at him because they had just hit him. And all of a sudden, Carl took off to the Giant dugout and started fighting with DeRocher.
Yeah.
And
he did.
the story in the newspapers go that someone inadvertently stepped on Carl's hand while they were wrestling on the ground and broke his pinky. But Furillo claims that DeRocher, while he had DeRocher in a headlock, DeRocher took his pinky and manually broke it with his own hand.
Right.
DeRocher
probably did. They hated each other.
That's why he had you see pictures of the beginning of the 1953 World Series, and Furillo's got I don't want to say
he sustained a fracture.
He's got a bandage on his hand. He's got a bandage on his hand, and he didn't hit very well. He had a lot of pain. His hand was still broken, for God's sakes, but it did help him win the batting crown because he had 344 when he went out. I think it was August 21st, and that was high enough to win the batting crown that year. But
and Furillo had DeRocher. He knocked his head off, and Furillo had him in a headlock. And they said that DeRocher's bald head turned pink, then turned red, and then turned purple. And finally, Monty Irvin and Jim Hearn managed to separate the two, but not before someone stepped on Furillo's left hand. Too bad. It was too bad. They had a lot of feuds there. The two of those guys. Yeah. In 54, he continued. He got a contract of $28,000. His batting average reverted to his career norm of .294, and he still hit 19 home runs and drove in 96 runs for second place in the Dodgers under Walter Olston. In 55, his pay was cut. If he was upset about it, he had consolation that next year he finally arrived and he received a World Series share of $9,700, and he had the best power numbers, clouding a career high 26 home runs and slugging .520, his second best. He batted .314 and recorded double-digit assists for the 8th consecutive season. He was really remarkable. A tremendous ball player.
Yep. The only thing he couldn't do was run.
No, he was not a fast runner. No, he was not a fast runner. You're right. But boy, could he field, and boy, could he hit. And his fielding and his arm, my God, his arm was terrific.
Yep.
He ended up, what did they say? He played in 1,806 games, in his career. He had 192 home runs, 1,058 RBIs, 324 doubles. Tremendous ball player.
Yeah.
Just tremendous. Yeah.
What do you do in 56?
56, he had a failure in 56. He batted 289. Then in 57, he came back at 306. 58, he was 290. 59, he was 290. And then in 60, his last year, he batted only 200. But,
he didn't play at all.
Quite a guy. Quite a guy.
In 1958, the Dodgers' first year in Los Angeles,
yeah.
Furillo told the 20-year-old Ron Fairley, "You can have right field after I'm finished with it, but I'm not finished yet." They actually became friends, Fairley and Furillo. They went to
they were
spring
very
training
good
early. They went to spring training early together, and they fished together and stuff. And Furillo taught Ron Fairley how to play right field. Fairley to this day says that Furillo told him everything, even about ground balls, about hits to right field, how to read how to read the ball and how to charge the ball and how to get your feet set before you pick the ball up to throw, all in one motion. Anyway, in 1959, go ahead. In 59,
no, go ahead.
In 59's postseason, the Dodgers had finished in a first-place tie with the Milwaukee Braves. By the way, the Dodgers finished tied for first place in 1946, the Cardinals. 1951, Giants. 1959 with the Milwaukee Braves. And 1962 with the Giants. The only one they won, the only playoff they won was 1959.
59,
and 59's postseason, the 37-year-old Furillo provided two of the most glorious old pro moments in baseball history. First, he clinched the victory. He clinched the victory in the final game of the NL playoff between the Dodgers and the Braves, who finished the regular season tied for first. In the second game of the best of three, with the Dodgers up by a game, Furillo had two key at-bats, a sacrifice fly to tie the game in the ninth inning, and a 12th inning single to win the game and clinch the National League pennant for the Dodgers. Then in the first World Series game ever played in Los Angeles, 1959, Furillo had a pinch hit two-run single with the bases loaded, 2 outs in the seventh inning, breaking up a 0-0 tie, driving in enough runs to ensure the victory. The Dodgers won that game 3-1. Both teams scored a single run in the eighth inning, but Furillo won that game. So he, and then in 1960, the shit hit the fan. He hurt himself. He continued to hurt himself. His legs were shot. Now, if he had played today with the DH in the American League, he'd be all set. He'd go to the American League team, and he would have played for another couple of years because he could still hit. He just couldn't run. And Bavesi told him, take all the time you need. He told him in early 1960, during the season, in May, early May, he told Furillo, listen, take all the time you need. I'll need you in June and July. So just take all the time you need. And then he finds out in the press that he's been released.
Isn't that terrible?
May. Yeah, in May.
Yeah.
And Bavesi just wanted to give him the $5,000, 30 days, $5,000. And Furillo said, no. I want the full year compensation. And Bavesi said, no way, no how. It's not going to happen. And Furillo said, when you released me, I was injured. You can't release a player when they're injured.
Right.
Bavesi said, how could you be injured? You got a pinch hit the day I released you. He said, yeah, but I couldn't run. I could only hit. I got pinch run for when I got to first base. So Furillo, as you mentioned earlier, he was a hothead. He right away got himself a lawyer. And they pressed charges. They looked into it, and they sued. And make a very long story short, Bavesi offered him all kinds of things under the table. Go to Spokane and play for the Spokane Dodgers, and I'll pay you for the year. But he said, no, that's going to hurt me with the pension. I'm not doing that. That's a slap in the face. And when all was said and done, he had to go in front of Ford Frick, the commissioner. It was a long, drawn out
It was.
And at the very, very end, he got his money. But he claimed, and probably was correct, although no one can prove it, it was blackballed. The O'Malley and the Dodgers blackballed him. He could never get a coaching job anywhere. No one called him. No one wanted him. He called Charlie Dressen. He called Charlie Dressen, who was then the manager of the Milwaukee Braves, and Dressen said, "Look, I'd love to have you, but the GM says no." And
he was black.
All the GMs, all the general managers were against him. No one would hire him, and it took many years before Peter O'Malley extended the olive branch and offered Furillo a spot down at Dodger Town for the the guys who pay all that money and they go down for
to go down
a couple of weeks. What's that called? Fantasy camp.
Fantasy camp.
Right. So he finally hired Furillo for fantasy camp, but Furillo died early. He got leukemia. He beat leukemia a couple of times, but it finally came back, and he died. He died young.
He was
after
67,
baseball. After baseball, he ran a delicatessen. He put Otis Elevators
security
in the
guard
Trade Center.
For a while.
Right, he was a security guard. He was that kind of stuff. So, it ends very well.
Carl Erskine said, "No, it really didn't. It's a sad ending. It really was." Carl Erskine at his funeral said, "I remember how tough he was. He was so strong. He was consistent. He was a player. When he hit a single, it was a bullet. When he hit a home run, it was a rocket. And his arm portrayed his strength. And they called him the arm. He was the arm.
They did.
He was probably one of the greatest right fielders the Dodgers ever had.
Yeah, probably the best. His nickname also, he had another nickname, Skoonj. People say that was because he loved to eat skoonjili. I say it was because he was slow as a snail, and a skoonjili is a snail. He was slow. He ran like he had a piano on his back.
That's right. He did.
When he was going through the bullshit, in 1960 with Buzzy Bavesi, Carl Erskine wrote him a letter. This is before emails. This is before the internet. This is before texting. Carl Erskine actually wrote him a letter and said, "Why don't you chill out? Drop the lawyer stuff. The Dodgers always take care of their own. Bavesi will find something for you. Just try to chill out, relax." But Furillo was not that type of a guy, and he didn't.
Oh, he was not that type of guy.
No, and he pursued it, and he, like I said, he got his money, but then, of course, he was blackballed. Probably blackballed. No one can prove it. No one can prove it.
No. It's like an unwritten
probability.
Right. Exactly.
That's the story of Skoonj, or the Reading Rifle.
He was something.
Yeah, he actually pitched in the minor leagues, too, He pitched for the Reading Brooks. He pitched for a team called the Reading Brooks. The team he played for before the Montreal Royals.
Right.
He played for the Reading Brooks, and he pitched like 8 games for them. I think his record was 2-3 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
He was something.
He was something. Imagine with that arm, he could have been a hell of a pitcher too.
Yeah, like Rocky Colavito.
Right.
A ball player.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Peter, let's talk a little bit about the 2017 Dodgers.
Let's do the latest iteration of the Dodgers, the 2017 Dodgers, and last night they lost a heartbreaker. Kershaw lost a heartbreaker to the Giants.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about this kid, Cody Bellinger.
I'm
worried.
So am I.
And I'm not only am I excited about him, but I'm worried that the Dodgers are going to send him down because I think the Dodgers are going to pull a stunt like the Cubs did with Chris Bryant, and that is they didn't want his clock to begin ticking too early because then he could become a free agent a year too early for them, for their liking. So I think they will send him down, but that will be a disgrace.
Well, I heard today that he's starting at first base tonight.
Yeah.
So, and he's naturally a first baseman. He's been playing in the outfield.
He is.
But this kid's got hands. I mean, he is so quick with his hands. When he hits the ball, it just goes crazy. I mean, now Saturday night I was watching the game. I was so upset with the Dodgers. They had only 4 hits, and they haven't been hitting well. They have not been hitting well. They've been leaving men in scoring position like crazy.
All season.
So the bottom of the 9th inning, Puig comes up. We're losing 5-2. Boom! It's a home run. Then Bellinger comes up. Boom! He hits the second home run of the game. And then the next guy was Justin Turner. Boom! He hits back-to-back home runs. It was his first homer of the season. And I went crazy. So now it's tied 5-5. And then they got a single and a walk, and Gonzalez hit a single and drove in the winning run. I was so excited. I was ready to turn the damn thing off. They had 4 hits in the game and 7 hits in the 9th inning.
Well, I want to tell you something.
Yeah.
When the ninth inning came around and it was 5-2, I looked over at the other couch across the living room from myself to my wife Linda, and I said, "You want to watch a movie?" And she said, "Yeah, let's watch a movie." I said, "Yeah, the Dodgers are dead. They're losing 5-2. It's the 9th inning." And I turned on a movie. And when the movie was over, I checked my phone, and the Dodgers had won 6-5. And I said to Linda, "Guess what? The Dodgers scored all those runs in the bottom of the 9th inning when we turned it off, and they won 6-5." And I said, "How do you like that? That's 1 in a million."
It was probably one of the most exciting games I've watched in a long, long time. I was screaming my head off. I was so excited. It was so much fun. I'm sorry you missed it. I hope the movie was worth it.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know if the movie was worth it, and you're sorry I missed it. I'm sorry I didn't miss last night's game.
Right.
When Kershaw lost.
Terrible.
I should have missed that one.
I noticed something. Peter, I'm a little concerned about Kershaw. The last 2 outings, he's been roughed up.
Yeah.
He's been roughed up. Now, he kind of worked his way out of it. Not this game, the one before he pitched.
Okay.
This game, they were knocking him around pretty good.
Yeah, they were
even the outs were hitting hard, you know.
Yeah, they were.
So, I don't know. I hope he's okay. I just kind of hold my breath that, you know, maybe it was just a bad game.
He did hurt his calf.
Yes, he did.
He got hit with a line drive.
With a line drive, right.
The game before that. And just maybe, I'm not making excuses for him, and he would never make an excuse for himself.
No, he never would.
Just maybe his calf is killing him. Who knows?
I have a feeling.
Don't know.
It could very well be. They're starting to hit a little bit better. This Andrew Toles, he's starting to come alive, which is amazing. I don't know what they're going to do with Bellinger now, though, because, Jock Peterson's coming back soon.
Yeah.
Gutierrez came back today, and they sent down Scott Van Slyke.
Right.
But they're
what about the other kid, the infielder, Chris?
Seager?
No, the kid.
Chris. He's been doing good.
Taylor.
He's been hitting very well. Yeah, Taylor. Yeah, he's been hitting very well. Yeah, and Seager, of course, is great, and Turner's starting to heat up. That Turner is probably the most underrated third baseman in baseball.
Yeah, he makes some good plays in the field.
My God, he's
solid.
This fielder. He's so solid, and he's a great hitter. He's really underestimated. He's a tremendous ball player. He really is.
Yeah.
Gonzalez is struggling. He's really struggling. His average is way down. He could be done. I don't think he's hit a home run this year yet.
No, he hasn't.
And
you know what, Branch Rickey would have gotten rid of Gonzalez last year because
yes, he would have.
Branch Rickey's philosophy was get rid of them a year too early, not a year too late, because you'll never get anything for him a year too late.
That's right.
Branch Rickey would have traded Adrian Gonzalez last season.
Yeah.
Last winter, the winter before the one we just came through.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
He would have
been gone.
You're right.
And that was his philosophy.
Right.
I mean, you know.
Yes, it was. It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Get rid of them a year too early rather than a year too late.
Yeah.
I don't like a lot of stuff that I'm seeing with the Dodgers, though. I'm not liking the fact that Jock Peterson, I read so many stories, and Mark Langio, your friend, told us stories and stuff, how he had changed his swing, and he wasn't an all-or-nothing hitter anymore. I don't see that.
Yeah. I don't see it either.
I don't see it at all. He's an all-or-nothing guy. I mean,
right.
He's going to hit. Yeah. Do you want a guy to hit 26 home runs every year and strike out 165 times and hit 225? I don't know if you do. I'm not sure.
I don't think you do. I'm not so sure.
I don't think you do. I don't think you do.
I don't either.
What do you think of Ryan Braun?
I love him. I think he'd be great for the Dodgers, and he wants to come there. Yeah, he's a California boy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of rumors that something might happen at the trade deadline, or even before that.
Might be before that because.
Yeah. That could be tremendous. Yeah, you never know.
You never know.
But they got to do something because they're not driving in runs. They're leaving men on base.
Yasmani Grandal, he's so hot and cold.
Good catcher. Oh, he's a good
He gets
catcher.
hot for like 3 or 4 games, and then he goes into a.
He's batting like 226 or something. He's just terrible. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's a good catcher, but he can't hit. It's too bad. It's just.
He hits the long ball, but he doesn't hit for any kind of an average.
And I got news for you. Utley is done too.
Yeah.
Ace Utley is. I think he's batting below 200. He's at the 192 range.
Pro. He's the ultimate pro. He gets on base and stuff when you need him to and stuff. But put a fork in him. He's done. And you know what? You need blood. This is only my opinion. I have no say in what the Dodgers do or anything. I would rather look down in my locker room, come out of my office as a manager, and look around and see a guy like Chris Taylor and a guy like
Krieger.
I want to see young guys who are dying to get out there and dive here and dive over there and run it out over here and
they're real hungry. They're real hungry.
I want to see Bellinger. I want to see Taylor. I want to see these young guys. You know what I mean? And
they have a lot of them.
Yeah, they do.
A lot of them. Yeah,
they do, and they should take advantage of them. I think. I know the intricacies of baseball contracts, and you can't sit a guy. Gonzalez is making $17 million a year. You can't sit him on the bench. You can't sit him down and play Bellinger, who's making $600,000. You can't do that. It's just not done, even if you wanted to. And so, if you want to move Gonzalez, who's going to take a guy with no home runs?
Right.
He's on the wrong side of 30 years old. He's got no home runs. He's losing it. He can't run. And you got to pay him $17 million.
Yeah, amazing.
No, just not going to happen. No. So it's like a Ryan Howard. It's like a Ryan Howard problem.
Right, exactly.
You can't get rid of a guy like that. So what do the Dodgers do? They're going to keep on playing him, and they keep on playing him. He's not going to be able to run. He's going to ground into a lot of double plays. He's not going to hit any home runs.
No.
You know what? It's a bad thing. You know, the Giants are playing so terribly. The Giants are playing so terribly now. The Dodgers should be 15 or 16 games ahead of them. And
right.
Yet they're not.
Sure they should be.
They're only like 5 games ahead because they keep stubbing their toe, falling down.
The problem is they're not hitting clutch hitting. They're letting people on scoring position. It frustrates me. The other night, last night, they had the bases loaded, nobody out. They couldn't even get a damn fly ball to get a run in. It was
when
terrible.
When the Dodgers load the bases, I go do something else because I know there's nothing going to happen.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen.
You end up with the inning with a goose egg. It's terrible.
Absolutely nothing is going to happen.
Yeah. Well, they've got to make.
Let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
How do you like? I know that you miss Vin Scully, and we all miss Vin Scully. But how do you like this new guy?
I'm not sure yet. The jury is out as far as I'm concerned. I think he's okay. I don't think he's great yet. I mean, how do you fill those shoes? I mean, you can't even compare it, you know.
No, you can't fill the shoes.
No.
I'm just saying, how do you rate him? You can't rate him against Vin Scully. That'll never happen. No one can rate it against Vin Scully.
Never.
But I like him. And I'll tell you why I like him. He's not a homer. He's not a homer.
Yeah.
Now, when you listen, when ESPN has the Dodgers and the Giants, and it's the Giants announcers, oh my God, he checked his swing. How can they say that? Oh, the other guy didn't check it. Oh, that guy was safe. Oh, that guy was. They're such homers. It's unbelievable.
They're so bad. It's terrible.
I agree with you. The only guy who's a little bit of a homer in the booth is Oral Hershiser, and you can understand. He played for them and stuff like that. But I mean,
he's a good add to this kid.
Yeah, he's okay. He's okay.
Yeah,
I like the new guy. Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah, I think
he'll fit in. He'll fit in. No one can ever take the place of Vin Scully.
Ever, never.
No.
By the way, Wednesday night they're going to honor Vin, and they're going to have a big ceremony before the game. He will be there. They're going to be passing out little microphones.
Yes. I saw that.
It'll be exciting. Yeah, it'll be very exciting.
That's funny.
And I had a friend of mine in L.A. that sent me one of the replicas of Jackie stealing home. That plaque, that sculpture. Yeah.
Yes, I have that.
I've got it sitting here. I'm looking at it right now. It's
I have
By the way, I'm reading a terrific book right now. It's called 42 Faith by Ed Henry. Ed Henry used to be the CNN White House correspondent. He now works for Fox News. He's written a tremendous book about Jackie Robinson. It's called 42 Faith. It just came out this year. I picked it up on Amazon. It was relatively inexpensive on Amazon. But it's fabulous. You would love it. You would love it.
I'm in the middle of reading Carl Furillo by, not in the middle, I'm toward the end, by Ted Reed, R-E-E-D, Ted Reed. That's how I got my information on Furillo. But what can I say? I mean, it's another baseball season. Nothing goes perfectly for any fan. No one's ever going to be 162-0.
That's right.
So,
like Mark Langell said, how he pointed out, he said how they run hot and cold. This guy will get hurt, then this guy will come up.
Sure.
It's amazing. I mean, it's so true.
Happens every summer. One of the Dodgers, was it a Dodger manager? Was it Lasorda? Somebody. I can't remember who it was, and I really, really should be able to remember, and I just cannot do it. But someone said, a Major League Baseball team, you're going to win 60, you're going to lose 60.
Right.
It's what you do with the other games that is going to make you or break you.
That's
true. What the Dodgers, it frustrates me when the Dodgers lose a game like they lost last night.
Yeah.
Because I know it's going to come back to haunt them.
No question about it. Sure it is.
No way. No way that's not going to hurt them. Those kind of games will always come and bite you in the butt.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with you, Peter, that the games you win in April and May are games you don't have to win in September. And
Yep.
it's the whole long season, and you got to win them when you can. And it's a shame when you don't win them like that. That game they should have definitely won.
Yes.
So, but
well,
what can you do?
What can I say?
Baseball.
Maybe, just maybe. Yeah. You know what? They should have won last night. And just maybe they shouldn't have won the night before when they hit the 3 home runs and the infield singles. So maybe it evened out. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Baseball has a way of doing that.
That's right.
Baseball
because they were real listless up until that 9th inning. They only had 4 hits. It was very frustrating. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's rumors in the Twin Cities that Dozier is still. There's a talk about him coming to L.A., but we'll see. He's not hitting.
Where would they play him?
So well.
Where would they play Dozier?
Second base.
And where would the guy they got play?
Forsythe.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the problem. But there are still rumblings. Whether it's going to happen or not, I don't know. But Dozier is not having a good season. He's not batting well at all. We shall see
what we shall see. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. It's a long season.
Okay, well, we'll say goodnight for tonight.
Friend.
And we will be back here next Tuesday night for more Dodgers baseball. I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in and thank my partner, Ron Rabinovitz, for all he's done, as usual. And
thank you, Peter.
You're very welcome. And for Carl Furillo and the Brooklyn Dodgers, I bid you all a fond good night, and we'll talk soon. Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.